In this video, I'm going to answer some of the questions that were asked from me on Facebook and on YouTube. Hi there, Ninja! Welcome back to my channel. This is Rhea once again, and you're still watching Call Center Ninja. If you're new here, I share real stories and tips to help you begin, enjoy, and survive your call center lifestyle. So please consider subscribing. Just click the red subscribe button down below, and if you have already subscribed, then thank you so much. One of the questions that I probably get asked a lot is where I'm from or where I live. So I'm not going to give you my exact address, but I live in the Philippines, in Cebu. And yes, I am Bisaya. I know how to speak Tagalog, and I also know how to speak English. When I was still taking calls before, some of my customers would ask if I was Spanish. I don't know why, but I have a very neutral accent. I don't even sound American at all. But I'd also like to say I don't sound regional. Not that it's bad, but it's just that in call centers, they would want you to have a neutral accent, if not an American accent. But I cannot really pull off American accent at all. So a neutral accent will do. I have read one comment before that he heard chickens. And yes, you will hear a lot of chickens in my videos, and even crickets. See, that's a chicken. Crickets, dogs, and cats, because I'm filming at home all the time, and this is such a healthy ecosystem wherein there are a lot of animals. See those chickens? They are always present when I film during the day. And I am explaining this just so you know, because you will hear a lot of chickens. And I am a very low-key video creator. Well, at least for now. When I say low-key, I don't have high-end tools to create my videos, because when I started my channel, I really just wanted to create videos that will help me send my message across. So I just got my phone camera, and now I bought a little microphone, but of course it cannot mask all the noise, especially the chickens. And I can't stop them from whatever they're doing. The next question I always get is whether I'm still working in a call center or BPO, or where I am working. Actually, I'm not working in a call center anymore. It's been 2 years since I resigned, but I still work in a BPO environment because I work from home, but I have clients and brands that I support from abroad. So I do content creation, writing for websites, social media, video creation, as well as customer service for Amazon, listings, and all those things. So I'm basically a freelancer now. However, since I have experience in the call center industry for 7 years, I started as an agent and then as a subject matter expert or peer coach, and then I became a lead trainer. I decided to bring my learnings and my knowledge from that industry into the world of the internet. So I am here right now sharing tips and real stories about call center lifestyle. There are so many questions about interviews and application, but I also already have several videos answering those questions. So very quickly, I'm going to answer a couple of questions from Facebook. Earl asked what to highlight in an interview when you don't have experience in working. I actually talked about this as well on my first interview questions and answers video. And I mentioned that if you don't have an experience in working, you always have to go back to your background and experiences when you were still going to school, university or college. Even though you're an undergraduate, you still had those experiences, and make sure to make them work related. In a call center, they're always looking for people who can work with a team and who can handle different types of people, because of course you will be speaking with different types of customers. So you have to highlight your skills and your experiences, even though it's not work experience at all. And for more details about that, I will link the video on the cards there. I just want to mention that I did create an ebook for call center interviews and questions with insider tips and answers, sample answers for common questions, out of the box questions, and situational or behavioral questions. But I am offering it for a small fee of 500 pesos or around $10. It's not for free, just in case you're asking, because it took so much time to answer all those questions, and I also shared my insider tips and tricks on how you can answer those questions strategically. So I'm not just going to give you the answers to those questions, but I'm going to teach you how to answer them strategically, so that even though the questions are different when you jump from one interview to another, you know how to answer the question because of the strategies that I provide on that ebook. Again, I'm not forcing anyone to buy it, just anyone who I think need it or needs it the most. So go ahead and check it out. I will link it down below if you want to check it out. Also, there are questions about a lot of interview questions, and unfortunately, as much as I would love to answer all those questions, only you can answer those questions. Like, tell me about yourself. That question can only be answered by you because, of course, only you know the answer to yourself. And then again, I also discussed everything about that on my ebook that I mentioned earlier. How to organize your resume, because it's the first thing that the interviewers can see. Well, that's a very good question. I actually don't make a very long resume. So what I would usually do is just to highlight my skills and experiences. You can actually Google a lot of resume samples online, but a rule of thumb that I actually follow is just keep it to 1 or 2 pages at most, and always focus on the experiences that you've had and your skills, especially if you don't have call center experience. For example, I can work with minimal supervision. I have very satisfactory English communication skills. And also I have been an editor-in-chief of our school paper. So, you know, those things that can be applicable to your job as a call center professional. And it says a lot about you, even though you don't have work experience. And maybe someday I'll also make a very detailed video about that. Then I have a few questions that I listed on my notebook. These questions are basically from YouTube. So the first one is, call center is my passion, but it's so sad because I've applied so many times. But basically his idea is he's shy. So to tell you honestly, I am an introvert type of person, and I'm also very, very shy. But you know what? Eventually you will just have to crush it and get over it, overcome that feeling of shyness. You know, not to the point that you really have to socialize and be best friends with everyone, because you know that's impossible. If that's just not your personality, you know, it will take time for you to do that and to get used to socializing. So even though you're an introvert and you're shy, you can still step up and, you know, fulfill that passion. If you really want to work in a call center, being shy or being an introvert is not an excuse. As I mentioned, you don't have to be best friends with everybody, but you just have to do your own thing. If you need to apply, go ahead and apply. If you get accepted, do your job as a call center agent or as a professional. Attend a couple of team buildings here and there, but you don't really have to worry about being shy, because anyway, you will be speaking with customers over the phone and the customers can't see you anyway. And if you're shy with, let's say, you know, dealing with your teammates or your supervisor, then you just have to face it, you know, and have a positive mindset and think that you can do it. I know it's not easy, but you have to have a positive self-talk as much as you can. Another question I get asked about this a lot. So it's about Versant and Berlitz and these examinations or assessments in the call center. So if you're watching this and if you're one of those who always ask about Versant tips, Berlitz tips, or SBAR or SBAR, and if you're not familiar with it, by the way, those are assessments basically to test your communication or interaction skills and a whole lot more. And those exams are usually prerequisites for an agent to get to the next level, which is probably the interview. I don't have first-hand experience about Versant, Berlitz, and SBAR, but I do have some credible sources who talked about some tips. So what I usually do if someone asks me is I tell them that I don't have first-hand experience about it, but I do have credible resources that I can link to you so that you can read it. And I do not want to talk about something that I haven't personally experienced, because that would just be half-baked and I won't be confident to talk about it because I haven't experienced it. I only talk about things that I've actually experienced because I want to tell you real stories in this channel. Hope you understand that I won't be able to cover everything, especially those that I haven't experienced yet, but for some things or some topics, I can interview some experts or some people I know who have experienced it and publish it here on my channel, but not anytime soon because my videos are always scheduled ahead of time. So I don't really make videos like on the spot and then publish it. Another question is personalizing empathy or sympathy statements. How do I personalize it? Actually, I just base it on the statement of the customer. The customer says, "My flight was canceled and it's really frustrating because I have a very important appointment." And based on that statement, I will just say, "I understand it's an inconvenience that your flight was canceled, Mr. Customer, but I will be here to check out what resolutions we have for you." Something like that. I can understand English, but I can't speak fluently. I also get a lot of questions about this. I'll just link the playlist down below if you want to check it out. But the only thing that I always say in this case, if you're not fluent, even though you can understand English, is to just practice. Practice makes perfect. But there is no such thing as perfect. So I always say practice makes progress. It's not an overnight process, and sometimes it gets frustrating, but the goal is to be understood and not be too overwhelmed by the grammar rules, pronunciation rules. The most important thing to start with is for you to be understood as a speaker. Another question is, can they hire college undergraduate? Of course. In fact, there are so many call centers that hire college undergraduate, but each call center has its own criteria. So, for example, at least second year in college, at least those who finished senior high school. So it depends. It's best if you check with the HR or clarify the qualifications from the company. Next is I have a problem with my accent. So I'm not sure what kind of accent that is, but like me in my case, I cannot pull off American or British accent. No, at least not for now. But what I do is I always watch American movies because I want to hear how they talk and speak. If you can speak with a native speaker, when I say native speaker, a real American speaker or a British speaker, and observe how they move their mouth and how they pronounce certain words so that you can pick up even just a little bit of their accent. You'll not be able to perfect it because you're not a native speaker unless you really study it all your life, and that's probably the only time that you will get to perfect it. So I do have a neutral accent. I don't sound American at all, but what's important is that, when your call center or the company that you're applying to accepts neutral accent speakers just like me, and I think a lot of call centers in the Philippines accept applicants who have neutral accents, not necessarily American accents, right? So it's okay. So if you ask me how to improve your accent and sound more like an American, I'd say just observe and watch them, maybe in movies or in real life, if you get to speak with Native Americans. specifically wanted for the customer to be mad, to be really, really mad and irate. I have some calls that have an irate customer, but only mild irate. And some of the mock calls that I had were for difficult situations or difficult customers, but not necessarily mad or super irate customers. So yes, just wait for that. I will have that video soon. Video interview, I haven't really done a video interview tip, but I was able to experience a video interview actually. And well, it's funny because, you know, it's similar to talking with someone just like this, and there is a barrier because of course you're not face to face. The best thing to do for a video interview is actually still the same when you are doing your face-to-face interview. So for some tips, up there. A lot of you have asked me to do videos about sales accounts, how to make a sale, or tips for outbound calls. You might not know this, but I've actually worked as an outbound telemarketer before I started my legit job as a customer service specialist. But it was very limited and it's just a very short experience. So I can give tips, but not very, very specific for sales because I haven't really worked in sales for a long period of time. And as I always say, I will interview someone who can talk more about sales or outbound calls. So wait for that. Situational questions during job interview. I explained about the STAR format on my previous video. Situation, task, action, and the result. And I also have a blog post about that. And I also explained further about that on my paid ebook that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. How many steps to pass in an interview? It actually depends on the company or the call center. But I'd like to say 4 to 5. So you can start with the initial phone interview and then you'll be interviewed by HR when you go to their office. Then you will have some tests. You will have the final interview. Then you can also have the ops validations interview for the accounts. So more or less 5. Somebody asked about salary range. It depends on the location and it depends if, let's say, you have an experience or not. So let's just say here in Cebu, the least would probably be 12,000 pesos to 12,500 pesos. I'm not sure if a call center still offers 10,000. I hope not because that's very, very low. So the least is 12,000 or 12,500. And it can be up to 30,000 pesos if you really have skills and you have experience. On the average, it can be probably around 16,000 pesos to 18,000 pesos. Can be up to 20K, 25,000, or up to 30,000 if you're highly skilled. And totally unrelated to the videos, but somebody asked, where do I get my shirts? Because if you notice, most of my videos, I think there's only one video that I did not wear a statement shirt, but my wardrobe is basically composed of statement shirts like this because that's what I like. So I just buy them from different stores, mainly in a store just beside my house, right over there. There's a mall right over there, and just there's a stall. And I also buy sometimes from Pen Shop because they have nice statement tees. And hopefully I will get to start my project for my own statement shirts line. So watch out for that if you're interested. But for now, you can check out Pen Shop. So thank you so much if you have watched from beginning to end, and thanks for sending in your questions. I will not be able to answer everything for now, but keep sending them in, and if I think that I haven't answered those questions yet, or if I need to remind you where to get the answers from my whole line of videos, then I will include it in my video. So that's about it for today, and if you like this video, please click like, subscribe if you haven't yet, comment anything, any questions or topic suggestions, And remember, I have videos every Wednesdays and every Fridays. Don't forget to follow or like my Facebook page if you need an extension of, you know, my other stuff. But basically still about call center lifestyle. Just search Call Center Ninja on Facebook, or I will link it down below. Thank you so much once again. See you, and bye-bye!